Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? Wherever you are watching me from, a very warm welcome. My name is Amanda Ellis, and I am recording this on the 17th of February, 2025. We are going to be doing a deep dive into the heart of Germany today and looking at the energy there, the awakening there, and what is happening with regards to the ascension process that, of course, affects all countries, but Germany feels as though it has been lagging behind with regards to some of the flowering of spirituality in other parts of the world. If you're watching this, though, you're probably one of the flowers that has been trying to break through the hardened ground and a climate there which hasn't been particularly conducive maybe to the lotus flower fully blooming in your land yet. But I say yet because I do feel as though there is an awakening moment coming in Germany. And Archangel Metatron, my main guide, has asked me to do a video for you. Having said that, if you are watching this from any other country on earth, I strongly suspect that there are going to be messages in this video that are very applicable to your country and your land and your people as well. Because a lot of what is probably transpiring in Germany is transpiring in other parts of the world also. It's a point to remember that Germany is actually the most populated. It's got the largest population in the whole of the EU. It's also the largest economy in the EU. So what happens in Germany absolutely affects the rest of Europe and the wider world, and a strong and healthy Germany can have huge positive impact, not just for its own people, but as I say, other countries surrounding it and further on. So there is an election coming up, which I wasn't aware of until literally yesterday. There is an election in Germany on the 23rd of February, which is this coming weekend. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at the energetics surrounding the country first and the awakening there. We are then going to do a dive into I was only going to do 3, but I'm going to do 4 of the main contenders there and have a look at their energy, have a look at who may win, of course. But more than anything, this is just a gift really for my German followers to hopefully help you understand the dynamics of what is occurring in your land at the moment. Sometimes having somebody come in who is completely independent, I have no horse in this race whatsoever. Until yesterday, I didn't even know who any of the main players were or what they stood for. I have to say that the current Chancellor, though, Olaf Scholz, I did recognise his face when I saw it. So, but literally, okay, I'm coming to this very clean and hopefully being just a pure channel. If what I have to say helps, brilliant. If something that I say doesn't resonate, just leave it, okay? So I think before we begin, actually, I'd like just to start with a prayer. And I would like to call in all of the guardians and great ancestors of your land who watch over your land, who love your land, who love your people, who love your heritage, who love who you are. And we're going to call in the guardians also of Mother Earth. We are going to call in the energy of Archangel Metatron. We are going to call in the dragon realm because there's a very strong dragon presence at the moment presiding over Germany. And the first thing I'm going to do is to ask it to release its grip, actually. This is really quite interesting. So this dragon that I'm seeing over the entirety of Germany is huge and vast and powerful, and it's very protective, and it's almost as though I have to ask permission to be able to see into I'm hearing the crucible that is the current state of your country. So with permission and with respect, just asking the dragon for entry into your kingdom. And there's a bit of negotiation going on between this dragon and a higher power. I've never seen this before. It's being explained to this dragon that it is safe to allow me access to sea. And with that, there are these almighty gates that are opening. And I'm looking down from a bird's eye view at the country, the land, and its people. And I'm seeing it through this dragon's eyes. This dragon is misunderstood, is what I'm hearing. It seeks to do good, not harm. It's ancient. It is wise. It watches over your land. I'm hearing that Germany is the heart of the EU. And by that, I'm seeing now a heart that is literally beating. Like a heart in your chest that's beating. And that the rest of Europe beats to Germany's drum. I'm feeling the energy of the French president, Macron, here, indignant at what I'm saying because of the rivalry with regards to who is the more powerful beast, I'm wanting to say, in Europe, who runs Europe. But I'm now just being settled into the energy once more of the German heart, the German heartland, and this steady beat. I'm now being shown when you have to put paddles onto somebody's heart that has stopped beating. And it's as though there is a shock to the system that has to come in to revive your land. It's like cardiac arrest energy. Where the country is at right now, before this election, and in the months, and I'm hearing years leading up to it, is a state of arterial decay, blockage, congested heart failure, stagnation, a rottenness, a decay. This is not just relevant for Germany, but for many other lands. There is a darkness that has come across the land. But this dark consciousness, this veil, wishes to be lifted. Or if not wishes to be lifted, will be lifted. And I feel that this dragon that I'm seeing over Germany is able to dispel the sickness that has come over the land. There is a sickness within the heart of the motherland. Some of this is ancestral, but not all. And I'm seeing your leaders up to this point as very small in comparison to the task at hand, which is to bring back into balance the equilibrium and the energy here. It can be done, it will be done, and it is happening. It's going to take many people to come together, many different heads being put together to work on the common problem that they all share, which is the sickness of the land. Sickness in the mindset as well. But this is not, I repeat, not just relevant to Germany. If Germany is the heart of the rest of Europe, EU, but I also want to include UK, we are close in proximity to you. Any country that is in close proximity, when the heart is diseased, that disease affects the rest of the body. It's systemic, is what I'm hearing. It's linked into money and power and backhanded deals and corruption and agenda and lack of morality, lack of steerage. And I'm now feeling that this mighty dragon that I'm sensing just wants to roar into life with some force and transmute this past energy, this present energy that I'm tuning into. I'm feeling as though the German people are at boiling point, raging against the system, at what has been done or not done, what has been forgotten, what has been overlooked, what no longer works, and what is needed. I repeat, these are not issues that are solely Germany's. They can be seen, manifested in many other places too. But there is this rising resentment and anger and mistrust within the people. But equally, there is an equally strong desire for justice, healing, unity, and the desperate search for a leader amongst us who can inspire, govern, self-regulate, enthuse a nation to come together once more in power, in love, in unity, to be the strong and healthy heartbeat that not only she needs, but the surrounding countries and wider world. For Germany to become an iconic tower of light, stewardship, guidance, mentorship for the wider world. And I'm seeing, it looks a bit like an Olympic flame, but it's not an Olympic flame, but it's like this hand reaching out with a huge light on top of it. It's like a huge globe of light on top of it. And it's rising out of the centre of Germany. And it feels very focused on Berlin. I may be wrong there, but I think it's Berlin, where once there was the greatest division and separation between East and West, now needs to rise a new gate that stands for the new era, not a gate that is taking you back towards the past. Okay. I'm just going to step out of that energy a little bit now. If you wonder where all that was coming from, it was the dragon, but it was also being brought in via my crystal skull. Okay, I had my hand on the crystal skull whilst I was channeling that. And this crystal skull, which is quite new for me, is like a record keeper. And I can pretty much ask it anything and I will get some guidance on it. But it's also quite an intense energy to hold. So I'm just going to step away from that for one moment. But it's definitely showing me the dragons. Okay, so let's put that there. And I'm now going to use some cards and we're going to get to the main players. Germany awakening. Germany has to awaken is what I'm hearing. And by awaken, I'm talking about the ascension process. The removal of the third dimensional veil across the land for Germany to rise in frequency towards fifth dimensional consciousness and beyond. It's been very stuck for quite a long time. And I suspect if you're watching this and you're into the type of stuff that I do here on this channel, you might not actually appreciate how much more difficult it is somewhere like Germany to do what you're doing. Believe you me, if you were in other parts of the world, it would be easier. But we get used to it. We think that the resistance that we're coming up against, the distrust maybe of new ideology or beliefs, this is also religious in nature as well, opening up in all senses of the word with regards to spirituality, throwing off the shackles of the past. There's definitely it's been tougher for you. It's not the only tough place on earth. There are others, but Germany is definitely one of them. And yes, there is obvious scarring and trauma and shame still persisting from the previous wars. But as each generation grows further from those events, so too the lotus flower can bloom in people's hearts of a new way. Okay. 2 cards that I pulled last night for you. We have the card of hidden knowledge, Akashic records and silent understanding, and precognition, psychic ability and future vision. I can't stress enough how intense it will be when Germany really fully awakens into her power. And I'm wanting to say her power because I'm not an expert on Germany, even though I do have German blood, but it's always felt quite a masculine energy. Deutschland is very just masculine, but the feminine energy, as it needs to rise across our whole world, in all countries, is rising and will transform the nature of the German people. It's a very strong feminine energy with both of these cards. It's a re-remembering of who you are. Hidden knowledge, silent understanding. It's like this latent, primal, ancient energy that is in the land. It does feel like another dragon stirring. And very much like the whales are the keepers of wisdom within the ocean, your land is surrounded with this dragon energy. I couldn't even get in to look at you until the dragon above had given permission. And now I'm sensing this dragon underneath the land. And it is huge. My God, it's huge. And it is stirring into life. It's stirring into life. My goodness, this is intense. So, at this time, you choose to have a general election. And on the surface, we can look at the individual candidates, who you like, who you don't like. But I want to say to you that all of the main 4 players on the stage at the moment are important. Catalysts are needed and are stirring something within Germany's heart and mind and sacral energy too. So before we get to that, I just want to pull a couple of cards for Germany herself. I want to keep saying herself. And I'm actually going to go to a colour and a tree. I know it sounds weird, but I keep being taken to your forests, Bavaria. But I know you're not just a land of forest. You're a land of metropolis and everything in between. The colour I want to link to Germany, it's really interesting actually, is the emerald renewal and recovery energy. And yeah, I really felt pulled to emerald for Germany. And there's a few things about this. This spray, it's an aura spray, but this spray was made, it was created after I did a workshop in Belfast in Northern Ireland many years ago. And so it carries the energy of a time and a country who were so divided. The Protestants, the Catholics, the hatred that had gone down via generations, and it felt like it was an unhealable land, that what was wrong would always be wrong, that the wounding was so deep it could never be healed. And yet it could. We saw that with the peace process. And so from a place where there was the deepest wounding, the deepest tragedies, the deepest scarring, the deepest generational hatred between 2 clans, breakthrough happened, healing happened, lasting change came. And they've never gone back to the dark days. So it's interesting that I'm pulling this for you now. It's as though the split within your country, not just between Old East and West, and those divisions being heightened again, but the divisions between ideologies between you, very much like we see in America, 2 separate camps that are so far apart, and there is just this polarization. It's not quite as bad as in America, but I'm still feeling there's an energy here of polarization and separation of ideologies. This colour, this emerald colour, is sounding a horn, which is basically declaring that healing can come. Change can come, even in the most difficult scenarios of a heartland where the heart feels as though it's in congested heart failure. This congested heart failure for Germany, it's also being taken to the lungs of the country, filled up with fluid, and the fluid is linked into terrible grief. And some of this is ancestral grief. Some of this is new. A lot of grief, a lot of tears, a lot of shame still. And it's time to allow that to be cleansed, purged, and gone, for the new to arise. So I want at this point to pull a card which is linked into trees. It's called the Tree Angel Oracle deck. I don't actually know whether these people are German that made the deck. Fred Hadjinder and Anne Heng. Sounds like maybe they could have been. Does it say where he's from? No. But anyway, I think it might be Germany, maybe. But anyway, it doesn't matter whether it is or not. It's just interesting to me that I pick where I pick decks from. It was given to me by a lady called Elizabeth Schwartz. I don't know if you're watching. If you are, hi, Elizabeth. Right, this is the deck. I'm going to pull a tree for Germany. So we're imagining Germany going forward, because you're not going to stay in this state of disrepair and sickness. You're going to be helped by spirit. You're going to help each other, and you can become this beacon. But, you know, we're not in La La Land. We realise that this is difficult change and challenge, and it's not necessarily going to be an easy path, but you will be helped. So, sorry, that was 3 that dropped out. Let me just have 1. Germany. We've got the Alder tree, Alder, Alder. I'll show you the picture again in a moment, but let me just see what the deck says it is. This is card number 30. So it says the Alder stands beside the stream. You see that? And the water rushes past. The alder lets it swirl by, and the stream too leaves the alder in peace. The stream supplies water and protects the alder from drying out. The alder shades the stream and protects it from becoming too warm. They sustain each other without trying to change one another. They let things be. Perfection. A breeze caresses the leaves and the heavens smile. The angel of Alder heightens emotion and empathy, acceptance and forgiveness. The Alder offers great comfort. It calms and supports us in letting go of pain from the past and healing old scars. Her secret is in release and letting life flow. Just rely on her wisdom and listen to the splashing of the stream, letting go of everything that is causing you pain, sorrow, grief, rage, hate and tears. Surrender it all to the earth and her helpers to be transformed into fruitfulness. Allow yourself to be purified, and in so doing, cleanse yourself. The Alder is also the north of the past. Her secret ability lies in non-attachment to everything except the ground she stands on. It is through this that she teaches us the gentle and essential art of release and letting go. So this is all about letting go. And there's a little rhyme that goes with it. And what does the rhyme say? Old wounds fester, new tears fall into the stream. A warm, loving hand touches your eyes, your scars, and your heart becomes a star in heaven. The stream carries away your burdens, leaving behind relief. Wow, Germany, it's so spot on with what I've been saying. Your heart becomes a star in heaven. The wounds of the past. This is a moment for you over and above this election. This time that you're in is about a purging and a release of past pain. And often when that happens, what will occur is there will be a reoccurrence of something from the past to make you take one final look at it. And that may very well be linked into the political landscape as well. And a pathway that some are fearing is opening up where past patterns repeat. But I want to say to you that it doesn't have to be so, because the past is gone, the lessons hopefully learnt. And the other thing about this is that the new generations being born now and in the recent past have a different coding and a different frequency within them. They are built for different ages and different times and different days. And there is, I think it's almost like the biggest fear that we're having to face right now is the return to the dark days. And just because there are similarities in certain events that might be happening doesn't mean that we are going to repeat the past. We can, but we don't have to. And it's particularly linked into the energy of the star seeds that are here, the frequency that you and I and others hold in their heart to keep a balance on this earth, and the help that wants to come in. If as a country you're in a state of congested heart failure and the paddle boards are out and it's like, you know, trying to be revived back to life, you've got the best surgeon's hands upon you, yeah? You have the best help that wants to come in. And this is both elemental, I'm hearing, it's angelic, it's dragon, but it's also you being the change also. So very much like what's happening in other countries, whatever is going on politically and whatever is transpiring, you keep being the change that you want to see happen to your country, to your land, to this world. It's very, very important to do that. So an election is important, yes. A vote is important, yes. But over and above that, it's what the individual does that matters. You, what you do, how you behave, how you embody the new consciousness of these times to be the change. Okay, so let's now have a look at some of these contenders. I'm going to start with just a few statistics. I took these off the internet last night, so they might be a little bit wrong, but not much, just in terms of where the polls were a day or so ago. So it said that the Conservatives, I believe they're the Conservatives, the CDU, have a 30% lead at the moment. They're in the lead, led by somebody called Freidrich Merz. I'll look at him first. In second place is Ellis Weidel of the AfD, and they have Alternative for Germany. They have 22% of the vote. In third place at the moment, not sure what the percentage is the SPD, Olaf Scholz. He's the current Chancellor. He's not looking as though he's going to win at the moment. I did say I was only going to do 3, but I will also just note that we've also got Robert Habeck, the Greens, in 3rd/4th place. Okay, so do you know what? Before I actually look at them individually, I'll tell you what I would like to do. I'm going to pull a couple of cards with regards to show me the energy of the victor. Yeah? Show me the energy of the victor. And we're going to go to a dragon deck to do this. There was one dragon. This card came out earlier when I was just tuning into you. This is the 8 of Wands, and I'm realizing now that is the dragon that I was seeing over the land. But there's can you see, just this is all indicative of great change that's wanting to come in. So I definitely feel as though whoever is winning is going to bring about substantial change. It's just what is the nature of it and what does it look like? Okay, could you just please, Archangel Metatron, show me the energy of the victor. Show me the energy of the victor. So after the election on the 23rd of February, show me please the energy of the victor with regards to who has won. What is it looking like? Anything to say about the victory? We've got the number 1, the shaman. The shaman. We have the 2 of Cups, the 2 of Wands, and the 3 of Cups. So the 3 of Cups is a card of celebration. So somebody's very happy. We have 2 2s. Not quite sure what that means yet. I'm just going to leave them out at the moment. So the 2 of Wands is whoever the victor is looking out onto the world. yeah? Surveying the scene, surveying the victory. Brave new frontier, I'm hearing. Feeling as though they've got a fairly good mandate. Whether this is them justifying it to themselves as well, because politicians are great at this. You know, you can just squeeze a victory and it will be like, this is the greatest victory that's ever been, you know, had, because politicians love to big up themselves. But the Two of Cups would imply that there is a degree of love for somebody that's been voted in. Or maybe, as I say, that's just the victor's energy coming through, that they really love me and now I have the power to do whatever I wish to do. That shaman card, number 1, I just want to double check what it is, because it's obviously not a traditional tarot deck. I just want to double check what number 1 is. The shaman. Is it the magician? No. Number 1. Is it the magician? Is number 1 the major arcana, the magician? It says, in a stone circle overlooking the sea, a great gold Asian dragon coils in and out around the monoliths. Somebody had a Chinese link. Alice Weidel has got a Chinese link. She speaks Chinese. Doesn't mean it's her, but anyway. In a stone circle overlooking the sea, a great gold Asian dragon coils in and out around the monoliths. Grounding himself in the sacred, he is old, his whiskers rimmed by the centuries to a silvery hue, and he is wise. He knows the ways of all things magical and rare. Pentacle, sword, wand and cup are his tools. Oh, it is the magician. Right. So, wow. Well, so whoever this is winning. Whoever this is who wins, they have all the tools on the table to be able to do exactly what they want to do. They feel like they've been given quite a powerful mandate. Okay, let's just get into it. Let's just dive into these individuals then. Let's have a look at number 1, who's in the lead at the moment, Freidrich Merz. Excuse my pronunciation. I'm going to show you a picture of him for people that don't know. Although if you're in Germany, you're going to know exactly who it is. Let me just say a little bit about him. So he's the front runner of the Christian Democratic Union. He's got a significant lead over the second party. His party is pushing for, I'm just reading, his party is pushing for tax cuts, reform of the country's ailing military, as well as a radical overhaul of the country's immigration and asylum rules, a proposal that has triggered chaos in the Bundestag weeks ahead of the election. He's a former investment banker and once rival of his party's predecessor, Angela Merkel. He's presented Agenda 2030, which aims to revitalise Germany's economy. Okay, let's have a look at what he looks like. I did screenshot this earlier. That's what he looks like. One thing I found interesting about him is that he's apparently been out of politics for 20 years. So he was a politician and then he went out of politics for 20 years, trained as a pilot, I believe. That's what he looks like. Okay, so let's see what we can get for him. One thing Metatron said to me when I was looking at his face for the first time yesterday is he said, look at his birth date. And I thought, oh, okay. So, and then I realised that he was born on the 11th of November. So number 11 is a master number. So he has got master number energy. What I always say about people born with master numbers is it doesn't mean that they are necessarily a master or a magician, but it means they have the potential to do great things. They have the potential. So he's born 11th of November 1955. He actually comes out as a numerological number 6, which is a nice frequency, actually, of harmony and balance and love. 24, he's a 24-6. 24 is an energy of... It's almost like he understands that he had to take those 20 years out to get back to where he is now. He takes the long-term view on things. So I just want to look at his face. He takes the long-term view. There's a steadiness to him. he's I can't even say it. He's a strategy. He's somebody who's into strategy. He plays the long game. He can be ruthless, I'm hearing, to get the win over the line. I think there's been controversy with him that he sided with, or he allowed the AfD, Alice Weidel, to he went into partnership with them or something to get a vote across the line recently on something. I think I read that. As I say, I know very, very little, but that's indicative of the guy, that he would do deals to get his way. I feel as though he's more right than you think he is, and by that I'm talking about his politics. I think he's further right than he portrays himself as. I think he's kept a few things hidden with regards to his true political leanings. It's almost as though he's tried to present himself as a little bit more moderate than he actually is. So I definitely wouldn't put him as centre. I wouldn't even put him as centre-right. I'd put him as more further right than he portrays himself to be. Definitely, I'm feeling that. Let's pull some cards on him. Let's see what we get. I'm going to pull from this deck for some reason. Okay, let's just see. So, Freidrich Merz, currently the contender to take the job, Chancellor. I think he'd fit in quite well, I'm hearing, with regards to other leaders. Quite respected. He's a known entity. We've got the energy of death and rebirth with him. Darkness to light. Yeah. I think this is his moment, probably, it's like back from the dead is what I'm wanting to say. There's not many people that can go out of politics for 20 years and then come back into it. So death and rebirth. Is he the one to lead Germany out of this congestive heart failure energy, which is what I was channeling earlier? This card would suggest, yes, he may very well be. He's also got brilliant beliefs. So no, that's not me saying he has. The card is saying he has. This is on the bottom of the deck. Brilliant beliefs. Very interestingly, the next card that comes out is deep emotions, but it says unknown feelings. And that's what I feel about this guy. It's as though he's a little bit secretive. There are things that he thinks, things that he would do, that he wouldn't necessarily, he won't declare his hand basically on all things. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he would do a deal with another party that he is not in agreement with, because he will do so if he passionately believes in something to get what he wants over the line. But I definitely feel like he's got, when I say secrets, it doesn't have to be bad. He keeps things very close to his chest. You think you know him? You think you know what he stands for? Think again, I'm wanting to say. It doesn't mean it's bad. I just feel as though, it's a politician at the end of the day. They all do that to a degree. But I'm just feeling as though there's an impression amongst maybe some of his EU buddies that, oh yeah, well, if he gets in, we all know who he is and what he's about. And he's like, no, you don't really know me at all. You don't really know where I'm going with this at all. I'm going to keep things close. Okay, let's pull a few tarot cards. I tell you what, this would be an interesting deck to use on all of them, the Citadel. So this is like a deck which shows you the archetypal energy that somebody is holding. Now, of course, we can all hold many different archetypal energies, but I did think it'd be interesting just to take one for each of the leaders. So let's just pull one card for him. So Freidrich Merz, what is the archetypal energy that he's holding, please? I don't like that. We've got the Thief. Seizing the moment and selfishness. Right, the Thief, seizing the moment, selfishness. Yeah, there is something with him where, that's what I was just trying to say, really. He would be selfish to achieve his aims. Seizing the moment. Has he seized the crown of his party from somebody else? Was there another contender that might have been a little bit more, I don't know, popular? Or it's almost as though he's a bit old guard. He's come in, he's seized his moment. He's been waiting 20 years in the background to seize the moment. Maybe it's destined, maybe he's meant to, but I feel as though there was somebody else who maybe could have had it, should have had it, hasn't now got the opportunity to lead the party. Or it could be that he feels as though Angela Merkel in the past thieved him of his rightful place to lead this party. And if so, he's coming back with even more passion and strength to seize it. But yeah, there's something about that that's a little bit off, isn't it? The thief. It's not the best archetype. It's not really what I was wanting to see. I'm going to have to pull one more, guys. I'm going to pull one more. And that's not saying we won't accept what the card says. I just feel as though there's something else. So, okay, we've got the Queen, determination and sacrifice. I don't know German politics well enough. I'm just feeling there's some woman who is around him. Is it Alice Weidel? If there's been any backdoor business with her in regard to getting deals over the line or policies over the line, he would stab her in the back in a moment's notice. He'll use people, is what I'm feeling. He'll use them to get what he wants, but there's no loyalty there whatsoever. So to Alice, I would say watch your back with him. Watch your back with him. If he's promising something, he'll take it and use you to get what he wants, but then you will be stabbed in the back. The Queen, sacrifice. Okay, well, let's just pull a dragon card for him as well. Let's see what we get. And then I'll do the same for the other three as well. Okay, you didn't see that on camera, but one sort of slipped out of the deck before I even started to shuffle. And we've got the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords, you see, is that energy of win at all costs. Win at all costs. That's the energy I'm getting from this guy. It wasn't what I was expecting to get, I have to be honest. I hadn't really tuned into him at all last night. It's just I was looking at his picture. I couldn't quite get him. He was a bit shifty, the energy. But I wanted to see the best in him, and I'm still wishing him the best if he wins. But the Five of Swords, I don't like that energy. It's like that is win at all cost. But the thing with the Five of Swords, you see, is that you might win, but yeah, there's been a cost. You've sacrificed something. You've surrendered something. You've given up something. It's taken its toll on you. Or it could just be that he gets the top job. He wins, and then he gets into power, and he's like, why the hell have I been wanting to do this for the last 20 years? I want to go back and fly planes. You know, why on earth did I ever want to be Chancellor of Germany? This isn't fun. This isn't good. This is just, you know, look at the state of the nation. I mean, he must know that anyway. But they're not particularly positive cards. Let's pull one more for him. That's not to say he won't win, because he's at the moment in the number one spot. Let's just see. Anything else to say? Let's just keep it very open. Anything else to say, please, Spirit, with regards to Freidrich Merz? We've got the Ace of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. His hands are tied. And the Eight of Cups as well. They're not great cards. It doesn't mean he won't win, but it's almost like if he does win, look at it. This dragon is like tied up in knots. It's as though he can't do what he wants to do. There's destiny here, but then we've got the Eight of Cups walking away. And that they don't really correlate with the cards that I got for who the victor was going to be. You know, the victor was somebody who felt like more buoyant than this. So I'm not sure, guys. But anyway, let's move on. Maybe it will make more sense when we look at the others. Let's put these cards back into the deck so we've got full decks to work with. And let's move on to who's in the second position. So I'll show you her photograph. She looks like this. And it's quite interesting. I tuned into her last night and I heard something straight away. So this is what she looks like. Her name is Alice Weidel. She is in second place at the moment, and the AfD stands for the Alternative for Germany. I believe that the AfD are particularly strong in former Eastern Germany, and her party is referred to as far right. I'm not saying it is. I'm not into labels really, but that's how she is reported in mainstream media. So when I looked at her, I'll tell you what I got. Also, the other thing about her is that she speaks Chinese. She lives in Switzerland. But yeah, I got a strong Thatcher energy with her. As soon as I looked at her, I just heard "this lady's not for turning," which of course was that famous phrase that Margaret Thatcher said. This lady's not for turning, meaning that she will not buckle. She will not back down. She's got very strong principles. You might not like what those principles are or what she stands for, but what she says, she believes, is running through her veins and in her blood. And I just keep hearing she will not back down. There's definitely an air of destiny with this lady as well. I think a bit like Marianne Le Pen in France. I think she's just going to be a pretty persistent figure on your country's stage for quite some time. In terms of just her physiology, just looking at what she looks like, I think she's got a very open face, actually. It's this energy of what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. What she says is what she's going to do. She's less hidden. Her motives are less hidden. This is the thing about Freidrich. I was feeling as though I couldn't quite read him. It was like, what do you really stand for? I know what you're saying, but what do you really stand for? Whereas with her, even if you totally dislike what she stands for and find it abhorrent, it is who she is. She's not trying to pretend to be anything that she's not. Now, for those people that don't know who she is, just a little bit about her. Hold on a minute. Lost my page now. Here it is. Okay, so just in terms of what she believes, what does she believe? So she's made unexpected headlines for her unexpected bond with tech billionaire Elon Musk. She's a former economist, speaks fluent Chinese, lives in Switzerland, as I say. Her party is well known for its tough stance on immigration. That's right, the AfD want to close Germany's land borders and has called for mass deportations under what they call remigration. She's proposed lowering taxes and a radical reduction in bureaucracy. She's critical of the European Union and have said Germany should exit the bloc, which the party believes should be shrunken down to a free trade zone. She wants to pull Germany out of international climate pacts, reinstate nuclear energy, and rebuild the Nord Stream pipeline to import Russian gas. One thing that I did feel when I was tuning into her, or not her, tuning into Germany generally earlier, was the skull. I heard Laissez Faire, and I'm not an economist, so I had to look up what that even meant, and I've now lost it. So let me just see what it means. And I don't need to look it up. I seem to remember what it was basically saying was it's an economic principle which is linked into the less state involvement, the better. Okay, so here we go, Laissez Faire. Hold on, I'm not explaining it very well. What is it? It's a type of economic system in which transactions between private groups of people are free from any form of economic intervention, such as subsidies or regulation, leaving things to take their own course without interference, abstination by governments from interfering in the workings of the free market. I mean, I don't really understand it, to be honest, but I'm just wondering whether that's more her politics than the others. If so, maybe there's a nod here to Spirit saying that that type of principle of less state intervention is part of Germany's pattern going forward. And if so, her policies are probably more fitting to that. Okay, let's pull some cards for her. Let's see what we get. I'm going to start with the dragons first for her. And we're playing with a full deck. Okay. I feel there's something in that. She's playing with a full deck. It's like she's got a lot of energy. She's got a lot of motivation. She's got a lot of years in front of her. She's got a lot of support. She's got growing support. She's a populist. What I mean by that is I'm feeling she's able to connect into the heart of people that feel disgruntled, misunderstood, disenfranchised. There's two just flown out. And she will seize her moment. Right, what two cards flew out? We have the Fool and the Nine of Swords. Interesting, because I don't really see her with regards to the I don't think that's her. I think that's the German people. I think there's a lot of people, because the Nine of Swords is a card of fear and nightmares and worries. And here we've got somebody in a cave and all of the fears are being manifested in the dark. All of the ghouls from the past, the memories from the past, what happened maybe when, others were excluded in the past. And are we now excluding new groups? It's the whole energy of immigration and then exodus of people who have been successfully given a place in the land. So I think the Nine of Swords is actually some people just fearing her, but she's got the energy of the Fool, which is sort of what I just said though, which is that we don't have to repeat the mistakes of the past, because I think there has to be an intelligent conversation that goes on around a unity table filled with representatives of all parties, where the subject of unchecked immigration is sensibly talked about. And we're saying this with the backdrop of recent terrible terror attacks in Germany. One only last week in Munich, where people were killed, the Christmas market massacre as well. And there is people are right to be concerned and worried about people coming in who do not want to assimilate and do not want to integrate with the country that they're coming into, and indeed are wanting to bring in their form of radicalisation and suppression of the native population. And it's almost like to be able to say that is in some quarters frowned on for being racist or being insensitive or uncaring, but it's not. And I think these are conversations that we need to have, which is that there's always going to be a place in all civilized countries for people who are in genuine need and need to come in for safe haven. But there's been an abuse of it, and it's unchecked. And if Germany closes its borders, that will have a huge impact on the rest of Europe, because where do they go? That's going to impact the UK. We're having these same conversations in the UK, okay? So, and again, terrible crimes happening on British streets as well. People who have maybe been granted asylum just, murdering basically and raping, and it can't be allowed to carry on. So somehow there has to be some type of solution on this with regards to where do these people go? How can we integrate people? Can we integrate people if they don't want to be integrated? So these are big questions of our day. This is not just Germany's problem, but she's raising all of this, and the fact that she's raising it people are worried about where that leads. Okay, let's see what else. So for her specifically, Alice Weidel. Let me get her picture back so I can have a look what she looks like. Yeah, there we go. She's obviously made connections across seas with the likes of Elon Musk. I believe she had a meeting with J.D. Vance when he was in Munich last week with regards to the security conference. So she's got contacts and fingers in lots of different pies. But then you could say the same thing with regards to UK and people like Nigel Farage. So, you know, and it works both ways. You know, it's not the first time that somebody has help with regards to external politicians. Is it right? It's not my place to say whether it's right or wrong. I know Olaf Scholz has had something to say about it, but I'm just saying it's not the first time it's ever happened. It works both ways. So let's see. Alice Weidel. What else is there to say, please, Spirit? What are her chances? Alice Weidel. Okay, one has just flown out, which is the Chariot. We've got the Ace of Cups, but the Seven of Swords also flicked out. You see, the Seven of Swords is a card of deceit. And it's really interesting to me because we've also got Freidrich Merz, who had the card of the Thief. Is he promising her something? I'm tapping into something here where this isn't in the media. Is he promising her something behind the scenes so that he gets in, but he then stabs her in the back and, you know, doesn't follow through on what's been promised? It's almost like your opinions will be taken into account, they will be raised, we will sit down with regards to policy, we do hear you, I do listen to you, but then when he gets in, it's just, you know, it's not followed through on. But she's got powerful cards, the Chariot and the Fool. I mean, come on. It's almost like nothing can stop her. It feels like nothing can stop her. But I don't know if that's this election. I don't know if it's this election. I don't think she's going anywhere. Let's go to a different deck. Let's go to this deck, actually. Let's go to this deck, different deck. Let me just shuffle these cards. I'm intrigued now. There's some sort of double dealing going on here between her and Freidrich Merz that just feels as though it's something going on. Don't know. Let's have a look. Alice Weidel. Too many. Alice Weidel. She's in a rush to get it done. I don't know what this is, guys. This is another card with thief on it. Dream thief, refusal of the call. 3 cards with all this thief energy. And it's not just her, it's also Freidrich Merz. Is there some sort of... Is there some sort of manipulation that's going to be happening with regards to this election? Is this election going to be fair? We've got the Dragon's Hoard protecting the future. I don't like this energy at all. Something's not right here. Something is not right. Refusal of the call. Let me see what this means. This card is card number 13. You see, the other thing is that the numerology of the day that the election's taking place is, it adds up to number 16. 16 is the Tower energy in the tarot. So, rejection of the path of fulfillment, refusal of the call. That's not what she would be, though. The lady's not for turning. The dream thief is a soft and compelling seductress. Her only purpose is to keep you hypnotized by comfort and sameness. She wants you to tell your old stories over and over so you don't evolve beyond them. Oh, okay, I'm getting it. Ask yourself whether you are reverting back to the familiarity of your origin story of why you were wounded or when you were rejected. Do you talk about how your family moulded you as a child without also acknowledging that you've already become someone else? Teaching from an old wound will never allow you a new adventure. Instead, bring to mind how you've already changed, remembering that you have new stories to relay and build upon. Right, this is more that she is adept at being able to push the buttons linked into Germany's wounds, reminding them of where they've been before, what happened. I don't think she's the one. I don't think she hasn't got the answers. She may be part of the whole tower falling, though. That Germany has to have this moment where it faces its own shadows and knee-jerk reactions. That's feeling as though it's unkind, and I'm not meaning it in that way. I'm just trying to articulate what the energy I'm getting here, because other countries could be the same. The knee-jerk reaction is that you are my enemy over there and you're the one that's causing all the problems, without looking at the deeper energy of that you over there are the symptom of a much deeper sickness. And the deeper sickness is actually within me, and it's within you. And we haven't healed our past. We haven't looked at our shadows. And so we've got this coming back to haunt us again. Is there good reason to fear it coming round again? Yes, there is. But what did I say at the beginning? It doesn't have to be so. I think she's coming from a place of wounding. Has she got the solutions? Refusal of the call. Clarification on this card over and above what I've said. Because I don't see her as somebody who just bails out. I'm sorry, I just don't. Netcaster. Preparations come to fruition. She's caught a fish. She is part of what's meant to happen, though. She is part of the healing, believe it or not. Even if it's about facing what you don't want to face. That card's come out on the bottom again. The Magician's Sword, confidence in your magic. Her supporters would say she is the one wielding the sword, bringing the truth back, the magic back. Is she the Lady of the Lake? I'm not so sure. Let's go to another deck. Oh, we haven't done these cards for her. Let's do this. Okay, archetypes. This might reveal something. Who are you, Alice? Who are you? What is the archetypal energy that you are currently embodying? The brawler. Oh my God. Germany. Oh. How did we end up with these people, guys? You know, I could read on any country around the world at the moment, and it's a pretty uninspiring bunch, you know, and I try and come to it enthusiastic and like, let's see the best in everybody. But we've got the brawler, lack of empathy and confrontation. The heir. Yeah, I thought that was going to come out. The heir. Unseen potential hesitant. Yeah, she's the heir. She's wearing the crown of the one who comes up from the land to rally the people to, I wanted to say to hate each other. I'm sorry, because I know these are very deep and complex issues, and personally, living in the UK where we're completely overpopulated, I do believe there needs to be a discussion on immigration. I do. But it's almost like she's gone in as the brawler. She's gone in like this bull in a china shop, which is just, we're going to close all the borders and we're going to throw everybody out. Well, hold on, what happens to everybody else then? What about all the other countries? How does that impact them? It's a brawl. It's brawling. It's that energy. It's not, can we try and sit down and work something out? And what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for them? And I don't know what the solutions are, but remember we had this colour, which is like where you think it's completely and utterly impossible in a changing, volatile world, solutions can come, but they're not going to come just from the human mind and ego, and it's certainly not going to come from shadow. They're going to come with the help of spirit. But she is the heir. She has a role to play. She represents a good portion of people who are pinning their hopes on her. I'm going to move on to another energy. The more I'm in her energy, the less I understand her. That's the truth. The more I'm in, I started off thinking, yeah, it's just what you see is what you get, but I don't know. Well, I think you do, but Alice Weidel. Oh God. What is it I'm not being shown or I can't see? Two of Pentacles. Queen of Swords. Yeah, it's very much her. She's quite cold. Quite clinical. Lacking empathy is what it says here. Put it this way. If Germany has got congestive heart failure, is the person who has no empathy the one to help tend the wounds? No. She might be the one who rips off the bandages and Band-Aid, though, to expose how toxic and infected it has become. And in that way, she is part of the medicine and the healing. Let's move on. Let's hope it bucks up a bit. Okay, so let's go to this guy. Now, I do recognise him, I have to say. I recognise him. Okay, so here's your current Chancellor. But he's in third place. So it definitely feels as though Germany wants a change. He is Olaf Scholz. He's the current Chancellor. I do respect the fact that he did tick off J.D. Vance. I mean, actually, I'm going to do a video on J.D. Vance's speech in Munich, and I agreed with a lot of what he was saying, I have to be honest. But that's just my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to have one. But I also respected the fact that this guy sort of stood up and said effectively, butt out, it's our business. Don't, as I can see both sides of it. So I think he will have won some favours with some people for doing that as well, for standing up effectively to America and saying, butt out. This is our business. But let's see what else we can get with regards to him. So what does he stand for? Let's see what he actually stands for. We know what he looks like. What does he stand for? I mean, it might be that you all know because he's been in power for a while, but I don't know. I'm just interested to see what he's saying he stands for in this election. I think the other thing with all of these people, with the exception of Alice, is that they're more pro-Ukraine, and Alice is more, is less so. Let's put it that way. Right, Olaf Scholz. He's been polling steadily in third place for several months. roughly 15%. That's not great, is it? The party's popularity has taken a hit since Germany's last election in 2021, when it came first with 25% of the vote, largely as a result of leading an unpopular and acrimonious governing coalition. So the SDP, who he leads, wants reform of the debt brake. It's in favour of Germany's current social security system, but has said it would increase pressure on the long-term unemployed to find work. Well, it's not going to win you any votes. To help low-income workers, it has proposed raising the national minimum wage from $12 to $15 an hour. It's hardened its stance on immigration, and has said it wants to accelerate the deportation of rejected asylum seekers and maintain border controls at land crossings. Scholz has found himself under fire during the election campaign for blocking support to Ukraine, citing a lack of available funds, and backed by some war-weary SPD members. Okay. Well, I'm none the wiser from reading that, but anyway, let's just go to the cards. And maybe there's something in that. Maybe, I mean, just because somebody's in power, you can sometimes still not know what they really stand for when it comes to a new election. Well, what are your new policies? What are you going to do? What's going to set you apart from your competitors? I think there's a bit of that. There's a bit of a lack of focus and definition in his campaign. It's like, we know what she stands for. We know what Freidrich stands for. What do you stand for? What do you stand for? And it's like, I'm not sure people really understand. Let's pull a couple of cards, though, for Olaf Scholz. I'm hearing better the devil you know, but maybe that's just my Cancerian energy, which is, likes to sometimes cling on to what we know. Or maybe I'm tuning into something that's in the collective. I don't know. Doesn't feel like he'll get in with 15% in the projected polls, but polls can be wrong, so let's see. Resourcefulness. We've got horned cactus, resourcefulness. Don't rule him out, I want to say. Prickly beast. Oops. But having said that, the card of empty well, time to replenish, and drifter comes in. I don't feel he's got much left in his tank, basically. Whether he's lost his enthusiasm, his desire for the job. Empty well is empty well. We've got drifter, experiencing life as it comes. It's like there's no... The plans are all a bit loose and circumspect, and... I mean, yeah, he's a bit of a... Let me get his picture up. What am I wanting to say? I'm just hearing he's out of ideas. He's out of ideas. I'm going to pull some cards on him. Let's do the archetype. See what we get for him. Olaf. He's got quite a parental figure energy, I think. He just reminds me a bit of a dad, a father type energy. Helped by his age, probably, and how he is presenting himself. And that can be a bonus for some people. Safe pair of hands. We've got the Pilgrim, opportunities and growth. I just feel as though his heart's not really in it. I feel as though he's got his one eye on the next 4 years if he gets elected, but the other eye is sort of already thinking about, what could I do if I'm not in power? Where will I go next? It's a bit of a hermit type energy. I can't, there's not a lot here coming up, really. Let's see one more card. The Pilgrim. I feel like he needs to go off on a pilgrimage. Yeah, we've got experimentation, rebellion, the witch. Doesn't mean he is the witch. This is to do with, he needs something to excite himself again. He needs to find his passion again. It's like it's all... The dry well is the dry well. It's an empty well. It's not doing it for him anymore, being in politics. whatever he's showing on the surface, it's as though it needs new blood coming into the government and to the position of Chancellor. So I can't see him getting in again, or if he did, how would that look? Let's just pull a couple of cards for him in terms of success. We won't write him off. Oops, sorry. But let's just see. Not that deck, okay. This deck. You see, this is how he tries to present himself, authority, the Emperor. Steady Eddie, but I feel as though Steady Eddie is a bit bored, a bit out of ideas. Let's just see. Anything else to say? Olaf Scholz. Doesn't mean he necessarily wants to give the power away, though. We've got the card of victory and success and triumph. Really? In what respect? In the respect of emotional withdrawal. Power, number 8. He's a powerful figure, but it's interesting. He's got victory and success and triumph. But it goes with this card. This guy's praying. He's praying for emotional withdrawal. I'm feeling to be taken off the battlefield. I don't think it's the end of him, though. I think he'll pop up in some other prominent position somewhere, probably within the EU. But yeah, I just empty well is the empty well. I don't know what else to say. This card of victory and success and triumph, if it hadn't been for all the other cards around it and how I'm feeling about him, I would say, gosh, this guy could come and clinch it. But does he want it, really, deep down? I think he's actually praying that the other side wins. Who's got the red flag in Germany? Which party is red? I think I'm right in saying that red is actually his party. I'm going to stand by what I first felt, which is I think for him it would actually be a personal victory to relinquish and walk away from it. That would be a success for him. It's almost like he's praying to not get back in. Of course, he's not going to show that. Okay, let's have a final look at the Green Party, and then we're going to do a summing up of what on earth this all means. The Green Party's guy looks like this. Good-looking chap, I have to say. Robert Habeck, currently polling 3rd or 4th position. So what do we want to say about him? I believe he's all for net zero as one of the policies, for example. What else is there to say about him? Let's pull some cards. Let's go to the archetype deck. So who is this? Robert Habeck. Let me get his picture up again. Right, looks like a blinking movie star, doesn't he? But I'll tell you what, you should never vote for somebody because they're good looking. We've learnt that mistake in the past, I think. You know what I mean. I don't think looks shouldn't dictate who you vote for in politics. Wolf in sheep's clothing it can be sometimes. We've got the Spy Master, knowledge and distrust. Who's he working for? I'm wanting to say. Who's he working for? Which agenda is he working for? A bit unfair to say who's he spying for. I don't think he's a spy, but the Gambler, loss and risk. Not particularly great cards either. The Orator, is he a good communicator? You see, just because somebody looks strong and, you know, he looks like a leader, doesn't he? Looks like a leader. But. Is he gambling on Germany's economic recovery with regards to trying to go for net zero, for example? Is he good at being able to give a good sales pitch, basically? But what would the long-term ramifications be with regards to the economy, for example? Where would it actually lead? Let's have a few cards for him. Anything to say, please, Spirit, about Robert Habeck? I'm not going to spend too long on him, and then we're going to try and sum all this up. Two cards for Robert Habeck, please. Two of Pentacles. Ace of Cups. He'll go wherever he is loved, is what I'm hearing. And what I mean by that is he'll work with anybody to get what he believes, he passionately believes. I don't know why I'm sighing like that. I'm a bit uninspired by all of them, to be honest. I'm also getting a little bit tired because the energy is quite heavy. So let me just try and sum up, but I also want to do him justice. I don't feel I've done him justice. Let's go to a different deck. Robert Habeck, what is there to say, Spirit? Honestly don't know. We've got the Six of Wands, which is the card of victory. He's not going to win, but he might be quite pleased with how his party does. But he's got the Tower next to it, so careful what you wish for. Germany, I don't know. I feel as though I've confused us even more, but I think also it's just where we are. I think this is really not clear cut, this election. There's something a bit weird about it. The players that you're seeing on the stage, they're not revealing their true colours. I'm going to go and look. Let's just start from a totally different deck. And I'm going to go back to show me the energy of the victor. And then we'll end with the crystal skull. Freidrich, Olaf, Ellis, Robert. Show me the energy, please, of the victor. Show me the energy, please, of the victor. The Ace of Cups and the Tower. Got that Five of Swords again. That was Freidrich Merz got the Five of Swords. I mean, he's in the lead anyway, so the cards are implying he's going to do it. But there's a Tower moment because I was hearing a hollow victory. Is it even possible, Germany, that it's a bit like what we've had here? I mean, somebody gets voted in and then the populace is just so so dissatisfied with them that there may well be an election sooner than you think. So they're elected in for another 4 years or however long it is for your country. But it's as though, I'm feeling as though there could be another election sooner rather than later. Why have we got the Tower? Temperance and the Hanged Man and the Moon. Something you can't quite see. change of mind. Someone's voted in, but then it's like, oh, actually, buy a regret. We've got that in the UK, big time. Or maybe there's an external thing that happens which is out of their control that changes everything as well. I don't know. I'm going to have to stop, guys. I am getting tired. I'm going to end with the crystal skull. Let's just see any other messages for you that are watching. So we're sending our good wishes to Germany, to the land, to the people, for the right government to rise, even if it is for reasons that are unclear, even in uncertain times, to understand that everything that is transpiring is happening for a reason, that all players are needed on the pitch, as it were, to help heal the past, steward in the future, Germany. So I'm going to go back up now to a bird's eye view with the dragon. I'm seeing smoke. But smoke can also be purification. There aren't any fault lines or anything like that in Germany, are there? Just feel like some sort of natural event, potentially. But I mean, it's true of many places. But it's very much from the ashes, the phoenix rises again. But it's a very difficult place right now, isn't it, for many countries, because we're all sort of in this ashes phase, and we have to trust that the phoenix rises, because it will. It can and it will. I send you my love, Germany. I pray for the highest good for your land, for your government, for the right decision, for unity, respect, generosity of spirit to fill your hearts. Lots of love, everybody. Bye-bye for now. Bye.